Happy Wednesday and welcome back to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today, David Babbush is our guest on the Wolff Den. Welcome to the show. Good morning, where you're at. How's everything?
Everything's great. It's another beautiful day in California. Nothing to complain about. I love the energetic music, so it's a real privilege to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about networking, which is the core of what you do. But for the people in the audience who don't know who you are, give us a quick intro and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, it is networking by definition. And we'll get more into that. I think we're working towards creating a different culture. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I went to school, University of Arizona, found my amazing wife there, or maybe she found me. I'm not sure. Found sounds a little awkward, but we met there. Yeah, right. And she's born and raised in LA, and I went back to Ohio after I went to school. Had a buddy driving from New York to LA to get in the entertainment business, and essentially he picked me up on his drive. I'm going to age myself for a moment here. I threw a couple gym bags in the car, and we drove straight through. We didn't screw around like young 20-year-olds and stop in Vegas, or he had a job lined up, and I did not, but I had a couple bucks in my pocket and needed to get a job, and went to Houston's restaurant, which I had always appreciated because I had eaten there in Phoenix, Atlanta, Florida, all over, and they had standards. And I always appreciated being able to eat the same item, whatever location I went to. In any case, I got into the restaurant business.
They're saying there's something with the volume, but I hear you.
Most people tell me to not talk so loud.
Yeah, I don't know what it sounds like. It's okay here.
Okay.
Maybe on the LinkedIn, they need to do it. We can try and give them
a little pump up your volume music.
I wonder if it's different on YouTube or not. They can try here.
Let me know when to fire away.
Yeah, they could try YouTube. See if that works and let us know. Or on Facebook. Let us know if that doesn't work. Okay, you can or you can't.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I hear everything fine. Jim wrote we can, but it's I know sometimes that could be a typo. Is it we can hear you or we can't hear you? We're good? Give us a thumbs up in the audience if you can hear us.
It's, do you want the air conditioning turned up or down?
Yeah.
Colder or hotter?
Yeah.
Or warmer?
I think we're probably okay, but we're going to go with it anyway. Had to unmute. There we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So fast forward because of volume and time and getting into better content than my history would be. I worked my way through the restaurant industry with various brands, and over the time of building my toolbox of experience and always trying to connect people, and I care about relationships and integrity because you just know when you know. And I realized after some time that I was in the people business and we happened to serve food. Pandemic comes along, had an opportunity with my restaurant experience, in particular in franchise world with Panera Bread, and have to give them a shout out as I spent a large core of my career there. I'm part of this M3 community business, and I'm operating other locations, if you will, so I can relate to what that relationship looks like, going through training, developing skills, etc. And I'm part of M3, and we're growing our business, our brand, and communities throughout the country as well as Canada, and we at some point will be global.
Yeah. A couple of things. I joined an M3 event in Los Angeles, and it operates on Remo, which I'm very familiar with because a good friend of the show, as you heard in the beginning, the Win Again Academy, the Club Room, Mark Moyer, their events are on Remo. I think it's a great platform for this type of for these type of events. So I encourage anyone, if you haven't been on it, definitely look into it. A ton of events on, but M3, if you're looking for networking, I use the word networking. You shied away from it a little bit. I don't want it to become a dirty word like we argue on sponsorship and partnership. I mean, at the end of the day, it's networking. And what is networking? What is M3 linked to you? If you're in a 30, 60-second pitch of M linked, what do you want to call it?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it is. But I think we're building community and relationships, and it results in those people that are part of the community and building those trustworthy integrity relationships, utilizing not only the resources immediately in front of an individual or a group, but people have built trust. So they open up their community. Technically, yeah, it's not a dirty word. We're just taking a different cultural approach that we believe will really help us build our brand to a point of differentiation.
So I do a lot of networking, join a lot of events. Went to a BNI meeting the other day, last week. I think I love networking. I love going to meet new people. I love hearing other people's story. We have 200 episodes of this, which is 200 different stories of different people. None are alike, but some are similar. And but I do want to say that everyone is trying to build a unique community, and I think there are a lot of good ones out there, including M3. And as I say that, it's not for everyone. Like some people are better off in a BNI setting. Some are better off in M3 linked. I have a ton of. I go to a locker room, which is once a month, and people just show up. So there's a lot of different types. It's important to be able to join them and kind of see what do you resonate with. Which I think it's good that you guys bring guests in and allow them to experience that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I'm so glad you shared that experience or perspective. And being a restaurant guy for so many years, the McDonald's Burger King theory, right? They would put themselves right next to each other on your main drag in whatever city you're from. And some people would get a flame broiled burger and fries from McDonald's or vice versa. So I think we all do have our own flavors and our own experiences. I think what we're offering that is unique is truly not being transactional up front. And how do you spend some time getting to know somebody, maybe learning about their family, respecting that? It's super difficult to build a trustworthy relationship in 30 days. So it takes time. Develop, evolve, learn more, understand their business. When I meet people, I try to have a call with them so I can understand what they might be looking for, so I can help facilitate some opportunities. I want to be able to have my eyes and ears open, to have a pulse or whatever catches my attention. Let me incorporate this. I think LinkedIn is an amazing platform. I think they're chasing 3 billion. We were talking about it before we came on, right? It is an environment or a platform that people can click on. What happens after the click? And I feel as if we're providing this unique platform to truly develop a relationship that leads into further opportunities. Maybe it's for somebody a social thing. Maybe it's a referral. Maybe it's actually business, but we provide that runway after the click to make it whatever may work and have it fit in your lifestyle, in your schedule. And so I think that is our Burger King, McDonald's thing, if you will, if I could put a bow on that, that part, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Yeah, that was, I mean, CVS, Walgreens, that was their strategy too. They would be within a mile apart. And I think there's value to that. There's value to building relationships. That's what life is about. And business too, when you're talking about in business, a lot of it's upon relationships. I have a different view of that because I think that works too. But I also think like some people want to deal that way, and that's fine. You want to talk about my family and the Gators and sports and weather, I'm happy to do it. But I'm also happy to just get right to the chase and say, hey, I'm working on this. I think you can help me. Or, hey, how can I help you? Because I think I can help you. Great. You can help me. Great. We can help each other. Great. We can't really help each other, but we enjoy. There's something about each other that we enjoy. And I think it could be a connection that, well, let's see what happens. Maybe nothing ever happens, but it's someone that, whenever something this happens, I think of you and I shoot you a message. So I think there's a lot of that. I think there's value for all of that. I'm okay with pitching right at the start because I receive in that way. And sometimes I don't have time. Like I don't have time to build that relationship, which I think you can do as you're working with someone and doing what you say you're going to do, offering value all at the same time. So I think you can do both.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay in the right place, time, setting, and understanding, the follower, the leader, or listening and hearing. Those are two totally different things, listening and hearing, or, and then comprehending. And I know I work at that because I have a habit of running my mouth too much, which aside from feeling comfortable, but I think people get genuine me and then I can make genuine connections. So just as you were saying, genuine you is, hey, David, dude, can you help me, connect me with University of Arizona athletic department? It's a yes or no thing. You don't think more or less of me. It's just, hey, it's to the point. And that's why I also said we provide this opportunity for people to navigate where it fits in their life, in their style, because we all are different. And the bottom line, and you even said it though, is do what you say or say what you do. And that's integrity. And we want to operate with integrity, represent fairly and appropriately. And again, it's been super cool to be part of watching something go from the ground up, and we're building the foundation on a daily basis.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about how M3 works. I met you as part of Los Angeles, but you've since are now running New York and Chicago. So there's different locations, and you don't have to be in that location to feel like that might be a good group for you, or you can join in a bigger platform and be at all of them, from what I understand. But give some more of the details there.
Sure, and thanks for the opportunity to share that. It's I think one of the real silver linings, and I shared this earlier in one of our forums, of the pandemic, which I'm not sure there's ever a silver lining in a pandemic, but we've all broken down our geographical walls, and we're open to, when we find the right people, an opportunity to share and be open to a 5 or 10 minute call or Zoom. With that said, to answer your question, we do have communities: Los Angeles, New York, Detroit, Chicago, Tampa, Dallas, Toronto, Philadelphia. I think the website is on the ticker here, so you can see all the locations. And my apologies if I left anybody out, but we do hold these virtual forums in our communities. We are moving towards having in-person events, social events, building those relationships. But our real door opener, if you will, is come check out a virtual forum. those are major metropolises that I just named. And the efficiency of being able to attend a virtual forum for 60 to 90 minutes is completely different than, and like I said, I live in Los Angeles. Well, if I'm going to go somewhere that's 10 to 20 miles away, I've got a plan for an hour each way, the 60 to 90 minutes, the meet and greet. It becomes a different time commitment. So we won't ever go away from virtual. However, we're incorporating a lot of in-person activity as well for, again, those that can see that fitting in. You attend a virtual forum, it's 25 to 30 people. We do it at that amount because we want to respect everybody's time, keep it moving. There's a little bit of 15, 20 minutes in my head. I call it open gym. If I can do the sports analogy, and when you walk into the gym, you shoot around and you hope to get into a pickup game. Well, it is an invitation only situation. You get invited to our experience. And after that 15, 20 minutes, just like walking into a coffee or a cocktail and interacting with people, we get into the more formal part of the experience. Formal just means more organized versus just virtually table hopping. And I get a brief bio from everybody that's attending, introduce them, and they get 60 seconds to share their mastery, their mission, and their motivation. Doing a bunch of branding here with the M3, but think of mastery, mission, and motivation as your past, your credentials, your experience. Your mission is present. What are you doing with that experience and those past credentials? And motivation is your why, or what are your objectives? For me, I'm motivated by being a giver to others and doing the best I can for my family and myself. So everybody gets 60 seconds. We have a timer to keep it moving. It's a little bit of gentle pressure, and wrap it up when it turns to yellow from 15 seconds onward. And then afterwards, you go back to the breakout room like you did when you first entered. The magic is there because, again, some of my sayings I'm bringing into this, but everybody's put a hello, my name is sticker on their forehead. And so now hey, Matt, I understand what space you're in. I know what I'm in. I could privately chat you and say, meet me at table 2, and think of a room, or I'm sorry, a table as a room. And it's nice that you and I can just chat for a couple minutes, identify our synergies, set up a meeting, and we're moving along. So the efficiency, again, of this 60 to 90 minutes of me making 5, 7, 10 connections is not unreasonable. I want to add that the room, although it's 25 to 30 people, it's different every week because there's no contracts, there's no obligations. Again, it fits into your life, your schedule. So the members are rotating, and whoever signs up, demand, supply and demand. And then there's always, 5 to 10 guests rotating through as well. And so the makeup of any combination of 25 to 30 people, it's not infinite, but it's awfully large. And then think about their extended communities too. So each virtual forum is unique upon itself. I try to also incorporate a little theme, have a little fun. I'm very fortunate. My business partner in Los Angeles is big game James Worthy. And, Hall of Famer, NBA champion. When I got into this business, I really wanted to align myself with somebody of influence. Sure, I'm proud and think I can hold a conversation with somebody, but I don't have a championship ring of any kind. And the point is that he usually kicks us off and we create a theme. And I'll go to a quirky calendar and National Chocolate Cake Day, and I'll incorporate that into business. Do you need a half cup of HR and a cup of legal? I would hope you don't need that large of a portion for either of those, but do you need a digital marketer? And it's, a couple cups. And do you need sales growth help? Whatever it may be. And then I toss it to James and he says, man, you're making me hungry. But then he will go into talking about the ingredients of a winning team. And the parallels of sports and business are vast, as you and I know, and I think we've talked about. So these virtual forums, if people are willing to or want to check it out, again, my LinkedIn, our website, it's in the ticker as well, and we're happy to offer an invitation, no strings attached, for someone to come check out one of our events in whatever city you're in. I'm going to add one more thing, and I'll do my best to let you fire away here. But I just came from having a forum virtually in New York. And we had people from, I think it was 11 different places: New Mexico, New York, Georgia, Florida, Toronto. I know Toronto's not a state, but work with me here. Michigan, California, Oregon, Colorado, if I didn't say it. The unique opportunity to connect with people and open that up, I can't stress enough.
Yeah, I think having new faces is the key, because if you're just hearing the same thing over and over again, there's value for that. It's a group. Here's who comes. Let's talk about. I think it's more about brainstorming, some ideas. It's but that opportunity to come see new people, go to a different city, even though you're not in there virtually. I've been doing it since it happened, and we had groups that met every week at the same time, and then whenever anyone have a webinar where there's chat in there or some type of group like this, again, I believe that the platform that you use is every bit as important as some of the content that's in there, because it allows the way it allows you to interact with people and jump from table to table. I actually like when you just sort of automatically randomly click people. They do it on Zoom. Some of our Zoom calls do that, and you're in with someone. Because in networking, you kind of, like you mentioned James Worthy. I mean, who's not going to want to go into a table and talk to James Worthy? But
maybe a Boston Celtic fan.
I think a Celtic fan might want to come in and give some choice words for him. But I think you just never know who's going to be a good connection, which they always have it in our head. This person would be a great connection, but then you meet someone who's a plumber or in something that's way away from what you do, and they could be a great connection for you. So I think part of it is forcing people to sort of talk, not forcing, but encouraging them, as opposed to when you're in person. It's a difficult thing to just go up and talk to someone you don't know.
I think virtual has given people a little bit more confidence to be comfortable in speaking and interacting. To your point, I'll also add that we have some unique opportunities for members as well. And what I mean by that is you can live in Florida where you are, and let's just say you're in the Tampa area and we have a community there, but you are looking to grow your business nationally. We have membership opportunities that provide you the ability to attend the forum in Los Angeles, New York, Detroit, Chicago, again, Toronto. And let's just remove the pandemic. If you travel for business, you can attend those in person, virtually, again, whatever fits. But I think our depth of membership opportunities and value is unique as well. We have other functions such as deep dives. We had a recent one where we had 3 women in the marketing world, all in different spaces in marketing. They had 8 to 10 minutes to give a little bit of their background, what they focus on, their view on marketing. And by the way, this was virtual, so it was open to anybody part of M3 or not, because we're sharing. And we believe in that share as living out that integrity, And thus, after each of their 8 to 10 minutes, there was a virtual Q&A, and people were also in the background, if you will, virtually making other connections that they didn't think might have existed by just going to a virtual experience and listening. So we have M3 Tank. We have another one coming up in July where it's yes, a little bit you'd imagine Shark Tank, but no, it's different. You're not going on there like Shark Tank and pitching, 4 billionaires to say, give me $500,000 for 1.5% of your company, and they all roll their eyes. It's more about helping people nurture and grow where they're at in their startup, in their app, in their invention, whatever it may be. And we have somebody who helps coach, prepare them for their pitch. They fill out an application. We're going to select 4 or 5 people, and they'll have an opportunity to say, I'm looking for funding. We don't get into the specifics of it. We're providing the platform. They can take it to the side and do their work as they make connections, whether it's to improve their deck, their pitch, their ask, their valuation. I could go on and on all these things, but it is a welcoming, giving opportunity for people to help each other.
And that information's on the website, m3linked.com.
Yes, it is. So on the site, you can not only check out locations, you can, there's experiences, and you can click on the drop-down box for the one you'd like to learn more about. Like I said, the deep dive with the women in marketing, the tank. Yes, everything is there. And by the way, you could also connect with any executive director of the communities because they're on the site as well.
How many members are there in M3 Linked currently?
We're over 300, if I'm not mistaken, and we're a newer, growing business, and we're growing every day.
Yeah. How many was that a year? I mean, the last year or two had to have been a huge growth from that.
I've just been part of it within this last year. I think I just crossed my year, so I frankly, I'd be answering out of school, and I'd rather give good information than wrong information.
Yeah, got it.
But a lot, because in the year I have watched Los Angeles Open, New York Open, Toronto Open, Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. So the growth is real. There's also opportunities to develop and open one's own community, and all you have to do is reach out on the site as well. I believe the tab is build a community.
Bill, okay. I mean, you're new to this. What was your networking plan prior to this, and what was out there that worked for you?
Friendship, really just meeting people. I think, like I said, as I went through the hospitality restaurant industry, relationships mattered to me, and they still do. And when I meet people or have people in my life already, and I just think there might be some synergy or vibe. Prior to this, it might have just been a text to my buddy Dean to meet my buddy Glenn, who lived in different worlds, but they have some potential business opportunities. And all I would say is you guys should meet and connect. And maybe that was for a coffee, a business call, or, a beer, or, hey, let's all 3 get together and I can introduce you all and you guys can let me know after how that worked.
I mean, I do that all the time. I'm always thinking about who I can connect, and through LinkedIn, have built up that community through some of these events. Tell me what's the advantage of joining? If I do that, and I have people who do that, joining a community and one over the other. I mean, there's a ton of communities out there. We can't, time-wise and money-wise, can't join all of them. So how do you really choose? What do you think is the determining factor?
I think cultural fit. And you said earlier, what is your mindset of how do you know where your next connection comes from?
Yeah.
And I think that we offer an amazing value in our opportunities to connect with super impactful giving people. And I'm going to stress the giving. And the reason I'm going to do that is you and I may not have an immediate connection, but you know what I've done? I've thought of Matt tomorrow or in a week or in a month, or you said it earlier as well, it triggers. So it's the relationships, it's the genuine nature of giving. And I don't think you can't be genuinely giving if you don't get aligned with integrity.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if you're in it for the greater good, as you give, you get.
I'm all
And
for the greater
so,
good. Look, I think there's some truth to that. I think there's people who want to give and it doesn't matter. I'd love to get more in return in due time, karma, whatever you want to call it. Someone who's just always taking and not giving, I always feel like, all right, I guess they need it more than I do, or that's just the way that they are. And that's not just with networking. I think being genuine is, and authentic in everything that we do is key. But there's people out there who are not. It's that becomes tough to tell. Do you ever really know and trust someone? That's the other thing. You get people your whole life. You're like, man, I didn't know that. Or sometimes the closest people aren't the ones who are willing to help the most. It's people you've never met. So always meeting new people is great. I mean, I used to be so shy and not talk to people, and my brother, my grandma, they would talk to whoever, and just by the nature of talking to people at events just randomly has gotten me good relationships. It's gotten me a little bit of business. And you got to force yourself to do it. It's not an easy, it's no different than picking up a cold call, just going into a room or going into a virtually and just talking to someone you've never met before. You have no idea.
yeah, it's interesting you say that. My wife always asks me to shut up and how many people are we going to talk to when we walk into her work events or social events. And I'm sure my friends say the same, but uh, they're still my friends. So I can't be that much of a idiot, or they're just not willing to be truthful. But it's really about the relationships. And sometimes I have battles with my friends, but and family, of course, but that's the definition of a relationship to me. If you're always getting yes or it's easy, what are the challenges and where does it take you to? And I have never ever been in sales in my life. Restaurant industry, I didn't have to throw on a bagel suit at Panera and drive people into their restaurant experience. But what we had to do was execute when they walked in. So my point in sharing that is that I think cold calls are challenging. Referrals are money. And I don't mean money monetarily. I mean it like I'm trying to have a little street cred here, money. But it is really about, isn't a referral the biggest compliment? Is
Yeah,
in the context of what we're talking about, right?
see that. Yeah, I've that's I had someone people have that on their signs and business cards. I think we're all selling ourselves every day. That's what we're doing. We're selling ourselves, and you say not sales, but the restaurant business, all this is customer service is everything, and customer service is 90 something percent of sales. If you can't handle customer service, the way you treat people and how you handle whatever situation you're in. I used to say like I never wanted to get into sales. My father told me to, and I'm like, nah, I'm not phony. I don't want to be pushy. But if you just have excellent customer service, you're going to be, success and follow up and follow through and do what you say you're going to do. And you're going to be successful in sales. That's my easy playbook.
Yeah, I got so tired of hearing people say the customers are always right.
Yeah.
And I don't agree. Customers not always right. Just make them feel like they are.
Uh, there's a funny bit in Mallrats here.
In what?
I'm going to play it. It's a little.
What is it called? Mall rats?
Customer's always an asshole.
It's
Is
a
this like
movie called
Turkey Day?
Mallrats. It's a Kevin Smith movie, and Ben Affleck, and he goes to Ben Affleck, "Didn't you ever hear of customers always right?" And he goes and says, "The customer's always an asshole." It's just a funny.
And here's my other one. Better an asshole than a whole ass.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one.
Now, I don't want to get sidetracked too much, but you also, I was thinking about helping others, and I'll bring in some sports. The best teams are the most selfless teams. And I don't have to name names, but a triple-double doesn't make you a great teammate.
No.
However, if you could start to check a bunch of boxes to make those around you better, aren't the growth opportunities, I don't want to say infinite or endless, but they're available. And so, Big Game James, as I'll bring him back in, he's one of the best finishers ever, right? I mean, nobody got in his way on the break when Magic throws a dish, and here comes Big James with his arm up. When did you see his shots get blocked? But he also knew his role to fill the lane, and Magic knew his, and they understood what each other's role was, and they would not have accomplished what they did and what they have in life without going through those experiences. And add Michael Cooper and Byron Scott and Kareem, of course. And guess what? The leader of the band, Pat Riley, guiding, coaching, teaching, but then giving them the autonomy to let it flow. And I feel as if I could bring it together without being rehearsed, frankly, is we're trying to provide these people the court or the platform to do their thing, to create their teams and build and grow, because I think now more than ever, entrepreneurship is understood by more people than it ever has been. Probably a large part of the pandemic, probably a large part due to education, probably a large part due to people not being able to afford education. I'm not getting into any politics here, and trying to navigate their own way. But all these different variables of ideas, technology, and again, if you need a business coach, if you need legal help, support, if you need maybe a CPA or a fractional financially focused executive, all these things, again, back to pitch decks. And we have inventors and investors and CEOs and business owners and entrepreneurs. It just goes on and on. And again, when you look at a team, all these people come from, I could do the Lakers, right? Kareem at UCLA and Magic Michigan State, and Worthy Carolina, and Byron Scott, ASU, and Cooper, maybe it was New Mexico or New Mexico State, Michael Thompson, Minnesota. They all come from different places, but collectively, the opportunities were endless. And now all these people have been super successful in their lives after sport as well.
Yeah, a lot of the networks argue there's a lot of professional athletes even currently playing or past ones, and they're all trying to get into the world of business. They have an easier in. They might have easier access like James, but it's what you do once you have that access. So we can give you all the access you want with the right people, but how do you handle that? What do you do with that access is really what's important. It's great to talk to the people like a James Worthy, and even James getting in front, but nobody's going to care about how good a basketball player James Worthy was if he's trying to pitch something unrelated to basketball, and it's outside of just, hey, I'm James Worthy, you should be eating and drinking what I eat and drink, and this exercise stuff. So I think it's lead the horse to water type of thing, and that's the importance of getting experience in networking. And also, I want to get back to your thoughts on the customer service side of it, because my opinion is that customer service, these people are trained poorly. It's like they're trained to have good bedside manner, but not be a good doctor. I don't want you to be all apologetic, and I get all the script, and I want you to help me what I want, get what I need. And it's like, you're taking it out on these customer service reps in a sense. I know it's not your fault. You're not the one who wrote the rule, and you might not have access to this, but let's find a way, like, who does, how can we do this, as opposed to just, the good bedside manner that they give.
It's interesting you bring that up, because how often do you hear stories of people having a challenging retail, maybe medical experience, just out there in the world, and they want to talk to a manager, right? So why can't, if I'll stay in my restaurant space, but you ask for no dressing on your salad and you got it with dressing, are you the person who says, send me the manager, or do you give that person who's there in front of you that hopefully has been properly trained an opportunity to fix it? We're humans. We make mistakes, right? It's about the recovery. But I'll go back to how we get to those places. And I think it's identifying the right talent. It's onboarding them accordingly. It's training and developing them. And then giving them the opportunity to demonstrate their skills in being competent. And I don't know if I'm going down the road of customer service that you were, I know it was an open question, but I think it all still starts there in whatever organization. Otherwise, you're never getting the horse to water.
Yeah. And that's it. Some of it's, opportunity. Some of it's dumb luck, right? Right place, right time, timing. It's just, who the heck knows? That's why I think when you put yourself out there more, all the luck and the timing, you have a better chance of it being in your favor, which is why I'm a networking fool, and I had my content, and I love to go to events wherever I can. But yeah, that's it. A part of it is just putting yourself out there. A lot of people don't want to do that. I guarantee you, whatever feeling you have about, it'll wear off, and then you'll be like David and I. You won't be able to stop talking once you're in one of these things. But you do have to. There's a fine line between, because you do have to show confidence and express. If I only have a minute to show people that I know what I'm talking about, or that you should be talking to me, you kind of you don't want to dominate the conversation, but you do also want to show that you're someone who they should be talking to. So it really is a fine line.
You said that you try to network like a fool in as many words, and no name calling. But what does your ideal situation look like, if I can turn the tables?
Yeah, I like random. I belong to a group that meets once a month, and just randomly gets into smaller groups, maybe like 4 or so, and then you might have 3 or 4 of those. But I also have done some networking events myself, where it's just, we got 50 people, and it's like 2 minutes of one-on-one, and then you're randomly put in with them. I don't know. I think it's all such a coin flip, that's the problem. Like, I tried. I think there was probably a point when I was joining too many of these. It was taking up too much of my time. But who knows, right? I can be a part of an organization that meets all of this. It could be great, but there's also another organization that could be great. I don't know. Some of it's just really random on who shows up that day, who happens to be a part of it. I think there's value to do as many as you can as your schedule allows, and as finance. Some of them are paid. M3 is a paid event, not to be a guest and check it out. It's free to check out, but it is
Yep.
a paid thing. I have some other groups that I've tried that are paid, and some that are just free and people showing up. I don't know. I think the way you said you never know is a good reason to do and try. But you never know is also a good reason to say, I don't know that this one is going to be better than the other one. And it could be, hey, this year, this one's good for me, and let me try out another one. And it's so random sometimes.
Yeah. And, it's, we I'm going to get to the people part, but yes, it's paid with M3, but I want to emphasize we don't do contracts. I think that flies in the face of integrity and building relationships, because, and I think when we spoke originally after your forum visit, we discussed this, that I don't want to have a contract with somebody. They're paying for a service or whatever we want to call it, opportunities, business, and they're not getting any value. That sucks, collecting money from people for no return on their investment. So we have options without contracts. You could do monthly, you could do annually. If somebody does annually, essentially we charge 10 months and you get 12 at some of our membership levels, because they're investing a longer run of time and commitment, and we want to build partners and members that were mutual, were shoulder to shoulder navigating. But it comes back to also, you said, I don't know, there's all these different things, experiences you've gone through. I think the thing that matters is whether you're in that virtual room with one other person or you're in one with 5 other, it comes back to the people. And who do you get aligned with? Who do you meet? I think there was a movie, Sliding Doors, and it was on a macro gig. It was an elevator opens or closes. Who's on the other side of that when you go in and out and they go in and out? You run into somebody from kindergarten or, an ex, not to be crazy, but those revolving doors in colder cities. Yeah, I sound like a arrogant California person. Not. I'm just very fortunate that we have amazing weather. But those, who do you run into when and where, and what's the impact you can mutually make on each other's lives?
Yeah, Sliding Doors, one of those like serendipity type movies where it's, again, timing is it's so crazy about the timing of and it's like seconds sometimes. It's just seconds and decisions we make that who knows why did we make that decision. Sometimes it's obvious, like if we talk about why Ticket Time Machine was born, I was at a Marlins game and it was a Stanton bobblehead. Now, if I don't go to the Marlins game because there was no bobblehead, I don't see the no-hitter, who knows if I ever create Ticket Time Machine. I think maybe I would have, but that really was it. Like that's like
who was the pitcher? Dontrell Willis?
No, it was Edinson Volquez was the pitcher. Yeah, it was.
Rest in peace. Didn't he get killed, or was that
Edinson Volquez? No, Fernand.
Oh yeah, not
Alex.
to be morbid, but
No,
it's interesting because you bring the sports in. How many majors or championships does Phil Mickelson win if he's not playing in the same era as Tiger Woods?
Yeah, great.
You've heard that story in sports numerous times. So, what would happen with Rafa, Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer? I mean, all 3 of them are if I'm not mistaken, the top 3 winning Grand Slam tennis players of all time. One of them would have won 40.
Yeah, that's no good for tennis, I don't think. Even the way, I think competition is good because they do fight each other a little bit the same way maybe Sampras and Agassi used to fight. at each other. I like the competition, but then you also like to have like that star. Right now, you got people winning golf events, tennis events, like more golf than tennis.
Right.
They never heard of, but yeah, and I do a lot of sports networking too, where it's very sports related. Is there value to doing something that's real niche on the networking? Do you guys have that as opposed to just sort of anyone can show up?
Could you elaborate and ask me more specifically?
I mean, it's people who are in the sports industry, right? Because the people who are joining M3, it could be any industry. Like I don't know what the hell industry, but let's just say it could be an attorney, a PR person. It could be a doctor, a lawyer.
The answer is yes. Now that I understand that more clearly, a couple reasons. We have mastermind groups, so putting together some synergies. The other is that an expert panel, like I mentioned, maybe it's a sports expert panel, and one is, I don't know, NFT and NIL. One person is in marketing. One is in, nonprofit with athletes. Whatever the case may be, yes is the answer. And the other is that we're really open to opportunities as long as we can maintain the relationship building with the right people, building the right culture. It's not my call to make it, but to make those things happen. But that's the beauty of what we're building and growing, and how we care about our communities.
Yeah, and as you're growing, if you're only having 25, 30 at a meeting, how do you navigate through that if you grow and now all of a sudden you got 50 people wanting? Do you do 2 meetings or?
Yeah, you start opening more days and you do some more in person and you open more communities. Absolutely. There's no restricting on that. And yes, I'll add on that, and I'll just use the sports thing. It's also amazing resources, which is kind of where we started, is the depth of value. I call them branches on the tree, and where does the next branch grow? You never know. But we have people in all of our communities that, might be in legal, they might be in finance, they might be entrepreneurs, they might be in cannabis or sports, or we're very open, and we actually do not want to put restrictor plates on who and how, again, aside from those that contribute to adding to our culture.
What was the most unique or surprising sort of person job that you had at a meeting?
Well, aside from James Worthy, it's.
No, I mean, like it was like a painter, something.
We actually have in our Los Angeles community a rocket scientist. And he's literally called for the launch at Hubble Space.
That's awesome.
I think I'm not even rocket guy like that, but that's pretty darn cool.
Pretty cool.
But that's off the top of my head. We have a member we have 2 different members, one an Olympic cyclist or part of USA biking, and another who was USA shot put. We have an ex Super Bowl champ. I love the sports part, so that resonates with me, but we have doctors and lawyers, and we have somebody who does electronic business cards that back in the day did some stuff with the DEA and was presented at a speech by Bill Gates. The depth of who we have we have a woman in the Detroit community who is starting her own line of women's golf clothing. It just goes on. And we have inventors. It's so cool what's happening and vast and available that I have zero trouble waking up each day to have conversations with people and share what we're doing.
You're in California, or have you been watching the NBA?
I do. I mean, I'm a Cavs fan through and through, and all my Cleveland teams. But yes, I watch finals when they happen, and I have been watching.
Are you rooting for someone? Do you have a feeling that?
100%. Yes, I'm rooting for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr is one of the best guys in all of sport. I think you see that from his emotion after the shooting in Texas.
Yeah.
His dad was killed in the Middle East back in the day, and I think there's some more depth to his emotion than just trying to represent something. I'm a massive University of Arizona fan, and there's a lot of Arizona on the Warriors. And I mean, my alignment with James, I can't root for the Celtics, although I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, Steve was before I became an Arizona. My sister went to Arizona. I'm a Wildcats fan back when Damon Stoudemire and Khalid Reeves were there, but Steve was there prior. Great ambassador to the game for
my freshman year. He was a senior. It was the first year University of Arizona went to the Final Four. And then our daughter went to the same high school he went to, Pali High, and then University of Arizona. And so I've always told our oldest daughter, you and Steve Kerr, Pali High.
Yeah.
So I'm all over the Dubs.
I'm a big fan of his. I think you love him or hate him, depending on where you sit politically, too, sometimes, because he's very vocal about that. I'm heading to Cleveland tomorrow morning on my way to Canton for the Fatherhood Festival. I'm going to stop by a couple of the Rock Hall, and I've been to there, but maybe by Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, see if we can't get some stuff going. Have you been to Canton?
Many times, and that's a special place. The venues in Cleveland have matured, if you will, over the years. I grew up going to. I don't think I missed a Browns game from 5th grade to going to college. And it was one of the worst venues of all time based on it. But it was one of the best cultures of all time and made me the sports fan I am today, and why I wear literally my Cleveland pride on my sleeve.
Yeah, Progressive Field is a really, really nice ballpark.
The Jake, they sold out 423 games, 463 games in the late 90s. And it's just super cool. And it's become tighter down there where things were spread out. When I grew up, the basketball stadium arena, which, by the way, I digress, but I saw my very first concert there. I think it was Bruce Springsteen, and I was 15. But it's Akron Canton, which is, I don't know, 20, 30 miles from downtown. And the Browns played there, and just things were all over the place. Now it's very tight. There's a great street where people go eat and drink before, and it's created a lot more pride. And Cleveland's a fantastic blue-collar city with people that appreciate being part of that community.
Yeah, I think it's a great sports town. Sports. Do you have a bucket list that in sports that you haven't been to that's at the top?
I haven't been to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
I've been to the Masters. I've been to a Final Four. I've been to the World Series. I've been to a Rose Bowl. I've been pretty fortunate in that respect. I've been to U.S. Open, tennis. If I had to pick, it would probably be a Super Bowl, but Daytona 500 and a Kentucky Derby are inching up.
Mine too.
those are inching up, and I've been doing Orange Bowl. I've been to a lot of really cool sporting events, and again, lucky, but I think you got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. And
Yeah, great.
maybe I'm holding out if the Browns ever make it to the Super Bowl, and I don't want to get into that conversation
Yeah,
right now.
that's for another show.
66 reasons not to.
Yeah, we're gonna let you off out of the Wolf Den with the same question we let everyone out with. You got 24 hours to spend with anyone in the world. They have to be alive, and you can't be related to them. Who would you pick, and what would you guys do?
I love that question. So I can't pick my dad.
No, got to be alive. But today is the 17th.
He's alive, but
not
he is
related.
related. Wow. I would probably choose Steve Kerr.
All right, that's a great choice. I'd love to spend the day with him. What you guys obviously talk a lot. Would you play some hoops?
Well, we don't talk a lot, but I would talk a lot. I would not play hoops because I would get absolutely annihilated. But I would probably see, I don't know if he plays golf, but maybe a round of golf, and then it's hanging out and a couple beers and just chatting. And
perfect.
I have mad respect in the lineage, and he was a Cav right out of school for a minute too. So
I admire him because regardless if you agree with him or not, I don't say I agree with him. So it's part of why I admire him. But he's a big, he's got a platform the same way as from the Spurs.
Popovich,
Greg Popovich. Like when you speak out, you know how many people probably agree with him in professional sports, and how few actually are as vocal as him. So I admire that. I do. I admire people who speak their mind and want to help and use their platform. And I don't think he does it to get attention. It's so I admire that about him. I think he's a great choice. Bear down, right? University.
And I'll give you my 1B. I know you didn't ask, but how about Jim Nance's backyard behind Pebble? He has a home. Jim Nance, the sports announcer, he has a short par 3 hole in his backyard, and apparently it's legend where during the evenings during the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, the players are over there having a little vino and little chipping contest, because Jim Nance was a Division I golfer at the University of Houston. So you asked me, and I've never been asked specifically the question you asked, and so I marinated for a moment, but I'll leave you with that. And I want to add, thank you. This is an amazing platform. The questions you ask, and for a sports lover like myself to be able to weave together what I'm doing on a daily basis, because I just live vicariously through athletes, and once in a while get a little golf or pickleball in, and it's a privilege. Thanks for thinking enough of me and what M3 is doing, more importantly, to give us an hour and 3 minutes and 37 seconds of your time.
Well, Jim Nance actually went to my high school, so I got to get him on the show. Check out m3linked.com. I encourage you to join an event as a guest, see what it's all about. That's the way, don't trust what others are saying. Just join, and we'll be back, and we'll be back next week with some more Wolf Den. I'm off to the Fatherhood Festival in Canton, Ohio, another great event. Check that out, and we'll talk to everyone soon. Have a great night.
Thanks, Matt.